First, I want to take a moment to recognize our teachers since it's the Teacher Appreciation Week. They do tremendous things for us inside the classroom, and right now they're doing tremendous things for us in the living room. They're taking the classroom to the living room and continuing the education of our students in Lee County Schools via online learning, via videos, via all the means that we can do to keep our education moving forward. I also like to thank our frontline essential workers at this point, from healthcare to police and fire and anyone else, grocery store, anyone else who's on the front lines of this pandemic. A couple of housekeeping things first. Dr. Brown will present the budget in just a few moments, and then we'll go down through discussion. What I'll do for discussion to make it easy, I will do a roll call and just kind of go down and do discussion so we're not all talking over one another, and we'll make this very orderly. At this point, I will turn the presentation over to Dr. Brown. One second, Dr. Coble, you okay? I'm looking up at the ceiling fan. Dr. Coble, you good? Can you hear us? All right, turn it over to Dr. Brown.
Wait a second. I got it now.
All right, here we go.
Thank you, Chairman Kelly. Thank you, Chairman Kelly. I'd like to take this opportunity to share some thoughts regarding the budget presentation from the superintendent. Good evening. I want to begin by thanking our entire staff for their heroic efforts to care for our students since remote learning began in March. With very little notice, they have gone beyond the call of duty to provide meals, teach at a distance, and even bring encouragement and hope at a difficult time.
No, we're just following their thing there.
Simply put, our staff has been amazing. Thank you to parents for your patience and resiliency in helping your children continue learning at home. And thank you to all the local organizations and leaders who stepped forward to encourage learning and unite us as one community. Our community has been fortunate over the last year to enjoy some significant, well-earned economic growth. This progress will benefit our community, both in the short and long term. It also will allow our schools to continue growing and pursuing goals that are critical to our ongoing success. Goals that we have, like increasing the local supplement for certified and classified staff, that draws outstanding educators and makes us attractive for businesses and families. That has always been one of our primary objectives as a school district, to retain and attract the very best. But we now find ourselves in an unexpected crisis where there are significant needs all across our community. We face economic uncertainty in the current pandemic, and it's not clear what impact this will eventually have on local government finances. For that reason, tonight, I recommend that the Board of Education submit a flat budget request to the Board of Commissioners, maintaining the local budget appropriation at the 2019-20 funding level, with no additional funding above last year's local appropriation. That doesn't mean that the needs that we discussed or overall goals will go away. They won't. We will have to take care of those in the near future. But because we're not sure what we will be facing over the next year, the most responsible approach is to delay what we can, while still maintaining the level of services required to educate our students. For the local expense budget, this will be a request of $18,912,278,000. For the capital budget, this will be a request of $1,347,506,000. How did we come up with that recommendation? Our formal budget process began in November as principals sought input from school improvement teams and staffs. Principals then worked with their colleagues around the district and with district staff to prioritize budget requests, which were then presented to senior staff. During this entire process, we analyzed data and consulted with our Educator Advisory Committee to make a final budget recommendation to the Board of Education. This request takes into account all of those recommendations as well as the unique challenges we face during this public health crisis. Even with a flat local budget, we will face immense challenges for the coming school year. All of the available information predicts that the academic, health, and mental health needs of our students will be even greater than before they left school buildings in March. From an academic perspective, we will be playing catch up for our students because of their time out of the classroom. Our educators have done a truly impressive job supporting students through remote learning. Still, we know that learning gaps will exist for students here and all over the state, and those gaps will need to be addressed. Based on how the pandemic is expected to unfold over the next few months, remote learning resources will still be needed. From a health perspective, we want to do everything possible to protect the welfare of our students, staff, and community members who interact in our schools. Given the current guidance, there's a strong possibility that school will look very different when we return to the classroom. We will need to promote social distancing and find other ways to limit person-to-person transmission of the virus. From a mental health perspective, our returning students will require more support. The emotional and economic stress on families created by the pandemic will be brought into our schools. These issues will need to be addressed for students to learn effectively. Congress and the North Carolina General Assembly have passed COVID-19 relief packages that attempt to address some needs. As schools begin preparing to open for the 2021 school year, I anticipate that additional funding for public schools will be considered at those levels, the state and federal levels. However, there are no guarantees. We know there are a lot of challenges ahead for all of us, but with the appropriate state and federal funding, careful planning on our part, along with level local funding next year, we anticipate that we can provide the necessary education of students and continue adapting to deal with any lingering effects. The work so far has been encouraging from all of our staff and their hard work. With everyone working together, we will do our very best to help our students, educators, and community achieve success. At this time, I will cover the capital request, which accounts for $1.3 million. Part of that expense will be to lease modular units for $100,000, a mower rotation that we've done every year for $12,000, boiler replacement at the Hines building for $120,000, a female dressing room facility for $100,000, in-house construction budget for $300,000, technology purchases for $225,000, a transportation truck for $26,000, athletic female dressing room facility at Lee County High School for $180,506, additional bus surveillance video for $54,000, additional security cameras and fire alarms at various schools for $50,000, and 2 buses for Warren Williams Elementary School. And just for the record, it comes to $1,347,506. The local expense budget, as I noted before, would remain the same for the $18,912,278. Our staff has worked very hard to put this proposal together. On our website and also for you, information has been provided about previous requests for local current expense and also capital budget. There's also information about requests that came from the school and trying to consolidate all those into what our request eventually became. Obviously, with the unique circumstances that we're dealing with right now regarding the pandemic and the challenges that we're facing as a community, that is my recommendation to the Board of Education.
Thank you, sir. A flat budget goes a long way in protecting not only the education that we have and keeping at the standard that we have today, but protecting our staff. We want to make sure that we can continue to fill all positions and keep everyone employed. And we understand that the crisis has put a lot of strain on federal budget, state budget, and local budgets. And I want to make sure we do our part and help sustain and keep local government moving forward in our school system as well. What I want to do now is go to each board member and open the floor for discussion. And I'll start off first with Board Member Womack.
Hey, Patrick, I just received some of the documents, and then I do have one where I have a screenshot, and it says that the file is corrupt, so I haven't been able to go through all those. So I will wait and do my questions at our next budget.
All right. Next, we'll do Board Member Sutton.
Hi, Patrick. I don't have any questions at this time. I understand everything that y'all have been over so far.
Thank you. Moving right along to Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith, you're muted. Hang on. You have to unmute yourself.
Can I go now? Can you hear me,
Yep.
Patrick? Patrick?
Go ahead, sir. You're good to go.
Patrick, I certainly agree with the idea that we keep our budget request level from last year. That seems very appropriate, being that it's going to be a shortage of tax income at all levels. I certainly concur with Dr. Bryan on that issue. Do we have any idea about lottery funds? Will they be available? Do we have any projections about lottery funds?
Not at this time, Dr. Smith, but we can double check that for you and come back to that on Wednesday if that's appropriate.
That'd be great.
All right. Any other questions, Dr. Smith?
No, I'm good.
Mr. McCracken.
Good evening, Patrick and Dr. Bryan. I was able to see everything that you sent us and appreciate your hard work. And I concur with Dr. Smith as well as with the flat budget. And as long as we continue to address those achievement gaps in the future, I understand what we're doing. So I don't have any questions at this time.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Coble, I believe you're good, correct? Thumbs up? Is that my understanding? What was he saying?
His sound is, he's having a hard time communicating, but
Okay.
he told me that he was okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Coble. And Vice Chair Hilliard, please. You go ahead. Oh.
Hey, good afternoon. I understand everything as was explained. I was able to open all the documents, everything came through. I am interested again is what Dr. Smith asked about our lottery funds, just because of everything going on. You know, how is that going to look for us for the upcoming year for our bigger ticket items that we normally go to the lottery funds for? Other than that, I'm good. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Again, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to what our budgets will be from federal, state, and local level. So I think if we're doing our part and asking for a flat budget, but also we don't know what next school year exactly entails, what it may look like. So I just hope we get back to the classroom and get back to normal as soon as possible and get everybody healthy and move forward. I can't thank our teachers and our staff enough for how they stepped up to the plate and have moved it from the classroom to the living room. So again, a thank you to all of our teachers out there and our staff, and especially those who maybe not used to using technology, who've been in the classroom for 30 years. I know it's a struggle, and thankful for all of them as well. And any other questions? Anybody? If there's none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn and see you all on Wednesday.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn this budget session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Signing off, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick.
Bye.